Let's talk about some different properties that we've learned about this 6 weeks. Let's start with the commutative property. The commutative property only works for addition or multiplication problems, only adding or multiplying. Don't be the person who does this for division or subtraction. Don't do it. It's only for adding or multiplying. What this says is that when you have a problem like 3 plus 2, you can reverse the numbers and it still gives you the same answers. We know this is true because 3 plus 2 is 5 and 2 plus 3 is still 5. All we did was switch the order that the numbers were written, but the answer stays the same because we were adding. The same thing can be said for a multiplication problem. If we say 3 times 2, we know that's 6. We can change the order that the numbers are written. 2 times 3, the answer will still be 6. We know this because it's a multiplication problem. Again, this only works for addition or multiplication. The associative property says that if you are adding or multiplying, it doesn't matter where you put the parentheses, you're still going to come up with the same answer. Again, this only applies to adding or multiplying. If we solve this problem, we would do the parentheses first. 2 times 3 would be 6, and then we would multiply it by 5, which would get us 30. The associative property tells us that we can move the parentheses and we will still come up with the same answer. If you noticed, in this problem, I moved the parentheses from here to over here. Now let's solve it to prove that we still come up with the same answer. Once again, we'll solve the parentheses first. 3 times 5 is 15, and then I'm just going to bring down my 2, and 2 times 15 is 30. We have the same answer even though we moved the parentheses, and this works because all of the symbols were multiplication. The same thing works for addition. If all of your symbols are addition, you can switch the parentheses around and you will still come up with the same answer. Let's prove this. 2 plus 3 is 5, and then 5 plus 5 will get us 10. Now let's look at the second problem where I've moved the parentheses to be around the 3 and the 5. 3 plus 5 is 8, and 2 plus 8 equals 10. The answers are the same even though we moved the parentheses because we were adding. The associative property only works with addition problems or multiplication problems.